You know what? They're a 17-year-old company today. Doesn't feel like it, feels like a startup, a new age company, but no, they've been at this for 17 years now. Hey everyone, welcome to another very interesting video. Today we'll cover IdeaForge Technology Limited. I found this talk while reading on the drone market in the country, and I found this to be a very focused and very interesting play. So in this video, we will cover the company in three separate parts. The first part will cover the company, its business model, the product, what exactly drone business entails, what are the use case scenarios, etc. The second part, we will do the financial analysis of the company. And of course, then we will do a small conclusion on what we think about it. Also, if you have enjoyed the content which I've been putting out so far, do like and subscribe. It really helps me in terms of reaching out to more and more people. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking. And now let's get into the video. The business. What exactly does IdeaForge Technology do? Essentially, they make drones, commercial, industrial, and defense usage. They very categorically have kept themselves away from consumer drones, which are low value, which you and me gift our children, and the drones used for agricultural spraying and so on and so forth, which again are low value drones according to them, which are more of commodity products and consumer durable products now rather than a technology solution. So the segments they've focused on is essentially defense, which is still 75% of their business, and industrial. More about the company. They're a 17-year-old company today. Doesn't feel like it, feels like a startup, a new age company, but no, they've been at this for 17 years now. They have about a 50% market share of UAVs in the country, which is excluding the consumer and the agricultural drones. They're the first to develop high altitude drones within the country, indigenous high altitude drones. They are the first to develop an VTOL, which is essentially fixed winged drones. They are currently ranked fifth in the world in dual use case drones, which is civil and defense. So now that we have covered the achievements, we would want to know what is their business thinking like, and what kind of products and platforms have they do they currently offer, and what is the development phase is going to be like. So first we'll cover the products and platforms which they currently offer, and then we will cover the kind of larger business model and the larger growth path ahead as such. So to start off with, so the company currently is into short distances of up to 15 kilometers and limited flying time of up to 90 minutes, which again is much more compared to consumer or agri drones, but still they're shorter distances. And within this, they have products for different applications. Now the company's products covers not only the hardware part, which is the physical drone part, but also the software part behind it. We'll discuss that in a little detail. On the hardware part, company has the basic drone called the Q6, which is basically a small UAV with high coverage area, and primary objective of this drone is to map large areas, do land surveys, do mining area planning, do construction area surveys, and so on and so forth. Then the advanced version of this drone, which is the more rugged version, which is used in mostly defense applications and difficult terrains, is the Netra version 4. This was of course their first drone, and this is the fourth iteration of the drone. This drone is primarily used for security and surveillance, for border security, for anti-terrorism, for crime control, and drone as a first responder. For example, somebody is injured somewhere deep in the forest where a person reaching will take some time. In that case, you send across the medical supplies and food supplies in this drone to that person in a double quick time. The third product which they have today is Netra version 4 Pro, which is the more advanced version of Netra version 4. And the final product is the Switch, which is the fixed wing drone. Of course, being fixed wing, it has much faster flying times and much higher safety compared to a drone, much easier to control. Mostly used for, again, security surveillance, border security, anti terrorism, and wildlife management. So, these are the hardware products. To support this hardware, we need software, just like a computer will not be useful without Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and the rest of the applications. Similarly, a drone on its own is not useful. Yes, it will fly, but what else will you do with the data you've captured with it? You have to analyze it, report it, collate it, and process it. So that is where the software comes in. Their basic software is called Bluefire Touch, which is the GCS software basically built for mapping and surveillance missions. It can also do moving target tracking, human detection. It has counting feature and so on and so forth. Mostly used for mapping and surveillance. Then there is the autopilot feature, which essentially enables remote control of the drone and autonomous flight completion method. It also does all the in-flight, pre-flight checks, and also has intelligent fail-safe features. For example, if the battery is getting low, the autopilot will kick in and the drone will initiate a return to home maneuver wherein it will go back. And also it gives you altitude management and GPS error handling capacities. There is Bluefire Map Assist, which essentially is a software solution allowing for geotagging and flexibility for surveying the grade and for better data capturing and processing. Then there is Bluefire Live, which is nothing but the basic Bluefire Touch with the facility of getting a real time feed of the drone video and analysis to a central control system and command center. So essentially can be used for surveillance, can be used for crowd control, can be used for campus security, disaster management, and so on and so forth. Then there is Surveillance Pro, which is a software which they have developed. So with the hardware and software covered, now let's look at where do they want to go? What is their business model? This chart, which I took from their annual report, tells us beautifully what they want to do. They are thinking about their business as a drone innovation platform. So what they do is they've built a hardware, which is the drone. And they've built a software on top of it, which is the basic software. But for creating more use case scenarios, for creating more applications, what they've done is they've opened both the hardware and the software to other developers. So a third party can actually develop more use case applications and develop a software to further assist. Think about it like a third party app on your phone. It only improves, not only makes your life easier, but it also makes the phone that much more utility and beneficial for us. These third party applications cover not only the hardware part, wherein you can have different applications in terms of transporting one thing to another, controlling, putting up lidar applications, and so on and so forth. But it also has opened up the software stack, wherein third parties can actually develop analytical tools and solutions to further analyze the data more efficiently, more faster, more accurately. Eventually, it wants to get into drone as a service business, wherein the drone will be owned by the company or the franchisees, and then will be offered as a service on an hourly basis on rental or for a particular task to the end customer. So the customer does not really have to invest in the drone, but it can still use all the facility. So that is the business model as such. In terms of product profile, the way forward is fairly simple. Today they do 15 kilometers in 90 minutes kind of operations. They want to go to 50 kilometers and then 100 kilometers eventually. And from 90 minutes, they want to stay up in the air for 3, 4, 5 hours. The payload capacity of each drone is different. They want to get into higher payload capacities of drones which can actually carry 200, 300, 400 kilos of material from one place to the other. So that's the eventual path which they are going down to. The company is actually not so much hardware company as it is a software company or a technology company. The way I see this is anybody else can copy the hardware part of it, but the software part is where the differentiation will lie. This is where they are really, really focusing on. They're not letting go of their focus. Simply, if we can see, they have filed a total of 72 patents till date. 38 patents have already been granted, and 34 are in process. And this is a continuous process for them. In another section of the transcript, I read that their R&D team is now 200 strong, which is a fantastic number for a company this size. And also, they are spending a lot of money in developing new products and new use case scenarios, which again is very, very good thinking on part of the management. Take an example, Microsoft, Word, Excel, or Gmail, Google for that matter. No matter how many search engine comes, whether they're better, more private, more data friendly, Google still remains the king. Same with Microsoft and its Office suite, Office solutions. They remain king. Why? Because they have the biggest first mover advantage and widest network of customers. The switching cost of customers is very high. Also in defense, when you have a mission critical applications like this, which is not only hardware but software also, replacing a supplier will be extremely difficult. So yes, this remains a very, very key thing for IdeaForge, and I believe they will continue to have that advantage going forward. And if I may suggest one thing, their annual reports is one of the better annual reports I've seen. If you are really interested in knowing how a drone company works or a drone business works, I suggest you read their annual report. I will leave a link in the description of the video. The drone business is going to explode with whatever we saw in the Ukraine Russia war. Now, purchasing a drone is not the only business. These drones have to be maintained, tested, software upgraded, batteries replaced, and so on and so forth. So, maintaining the drone will also be a good business model, which going forward will contribute healthily to the revenues. So, yes, very interesting business model, sunrise industry, infinite growth, currently serving mostly domestic markets, just started to test the product in the US markets. So those growth segments will also come in sooner or later. I see nothing wrong with the business as such. So now let's have a quick look at the financials. It listed recently about a year back, listed at about 1200 rupees. Today the stock is available at 785. So obviously it has fallen down from its highs. The stock P today is 73, but the growth for 3 years, last 3 years has been fantastic. Even if it grows at 35% annually, this stock P of 73, everything else remaining the same, will come down to 30 or 25-30 levels in about 2 years' time. The ROC and ROE currently are looking depressed, but what you need to consider is that this is a growing business with smaller turnover. The turnover last year was only 317 crores, with this year turnover projected at 450 crores. So this is a future looking business wherein the company has raised money recently and will be shortly expanding its revenues as well as profits, which will again boost the ROC and ROCE. The operating margin also looks optically depressed at 19%. I believe they will maintain it closer to 25-26% over a period of time. That is in line with any other capital goods manufacturing company. With high growth, with high operating profit margin, and with a runway of close to 200 crores in books today, which is the cash in the books today, uh, I believe it does not really need too much more. Even if you look at other companies in the defense sector, if you look at the competition, the screenshot is right here. All of them are trading at a P levels of 80 plus on an average. Industry average is 87.81. It is IdeaForge, for that matter, is trading at a P of 73, which we believe is a combined with the growth in the business should be a good number. Similarly, the PEG ratio for most of the companies is much higher at 17, 12, 11 times. IdeaForge is a more reasonable 1.65 times. Is it overvalued considering 24 numbers? Yes, it is. But is it overvalued considering expected numbers in 25 and 26? Maybe not. I believe it's okay, and one can consider this for further investigation. Now we will look at the financials, the profit and loss account. If you look at the larger picture, I believe the operating profit margin will be maintained closing to 25% instead of 24 ka numbers. 24 ka numbers also had a 8 crore loss booked in because of fire in the godown. That is where operating margin, profit margins are a little lower. If that 8 crore was added back, it would have improved it by at least 4-5 percentage points at least. The employee costs are a little elevated because of high spending on R&D. But again, they have stabilized because last year they capitalized 18.9 crore of intangible assets, and they charged to P&L 26 crore of intangible assets. So net, no effect. So operating profit margin, I believe they'll maintain close to 25% with a material cost of close to 45-50%. Over a period of time, once the installed base grows, the material cost will fall to about 40% because a lot of software development and upgrade revenues will start coming in. A lot of repair revenues and maintenance revenues will start coming in, which will have literally zero material cost to a very, very low material cost. So over a period of time, the material cost will drop to about 40% is my expectation. Now, what we have to see here is one ratio which was bothering me a little was the inventory holding ratio, which was close to 200 days. Now, that 200 days, when I started further research, it is roughly 90 days of raw material and roughly 70-80 days of finished goods, 90 days of finished goods. So when I consider the breakup of the inventory and considering the fact that it is a capex and it is a made to order for a very, very specific customer, they really don't keep stock as such. So I believe it's fine and should be okay, should not be a problem as such. So inventory days are optically bad, but can. Uh, it's only optics and there is got nothing around it. Everything else, whether it's debtor days or payable days, is in control. So once the business matures, this inventory day is expected to come down with higher turnover. But again, don't expect it to come down to less than 30 days or 25 days with as with other manufacturing companies. It will always have a longer inventory cycle of close to anywhere between 120 to 150 days. So when we look at the financials, the business metrics are all right. The management commentary is all about growth and reinvesting in the company. They're also expanding their product portfolio. They're expanding their sales geographies by, expanding to US and Australia and so on and so forth. As the installed product base expands, the service business will kick in. So will the software business. So overall, the financials look like, if I look at it stand on a standalone basis, independent of the share price, they are an excellent set of financials and excellent, numbers in any which way you see. But when I compare it to the stock price, then yes, stock price as of today looks a little expensive. But if I may hazard a guess and look 2 years into the future, I believe this stock can be considered for further investigation and analysis. In the end, what is the conclusion? So I can expect the business to go from 300 crores today to close to 1500, 2000 crore within a next 4 to 5 years at the outside. So that's 5 times growth in 5 years. With that, the operating profit margins will grow from current 25% expected to about a 30-32% kind of range. So that gives me an operating profit of close to 600 crores on a 1500 crore turnover in 5 years' time. Now, why am I estimating a 1500 crore turnover? Simply looking at the kind of path the company is taking, expanding the product portfolio, the geographies, and also the kind of the way the industry is growing as such. If the company keeps doing what it is doing now, it will reach that number very, very soon. At 1500 crore turnover, of course, the economies of scale will kick in. The R&D cost as a percentage of sale will go down, and the margins will improve. So I expect the margins to operating profit margins to go to 30-32% kind of number, giving me a 600 crore kind of operating profit. Of course, this is my guesstimate, absolute wild guess, and it's a very interesting business. Even you, as a viewer and investor, should read more about the company, consider the numbers, and if nothing else, keep it in your watch list. With that, we will end this video. Until next time, happy investing.